So you can see the rye cover crop and the beginnings of emerging alfalfa already. It has filled in. You almost can't see the rows. And as you look out over the field, there's very solid growth here. Hey, good morning. Dave here from Rolling Hills Farm. Welcome to the channel. It's a beautiful sunny morning. We had a few showers move through overnight. We're expecting more in a little while, but I've got the field roller on Dawn's filthy tractor and I'm headed out to roll a section of grain that we winter rye, actually, that we seeded last night. We were out pretty late. A little bit of it's pasture and two different fields. The idea is to get the rye in now. It'll come up a little bit and then winter kill, and then be up in the spring and be able to be combined a grain. Well, we're back out here today disking the section that we plowed up. I haven't been able to plow the whole thing because we've got this lime that was delivered last winter, plus a couple of loads of manure that are going to get spread on here, and I want to open a spot. You can see out in front of me the larger section of these 5 acres, so I can get this lime spread, and then we'll come back here and plow the headlands and that last little section, so we can spread the rest of the lime and get this field ready to seed down. Well, we're done spreading the lime on the field. As you can see, the field's been covered. And so I'm just going around disking it in, incorporating the lime into the soil before we seed this down. A little rough, it still needs a pass with the disc. This field is actually pretty rock free.
Yeah, got one over there.
Yeah, there was a bad one back there.
Everything else was just little.
As you can see over my shoulder, we're seeding. Well, it might seem like an odd time to be seeding in the fall, but this is winter rye that we're putting in. This field will come up over the next couple of weeks. The rye will emerge, and it'll keep the soil in place here, cut down on erosion significantly. Well, you see Dawn over there picking rocks. She has the crummy job while I'm sitting in the nice air-conditioned cab operating the tractor and the seeder. This is the rye we're seeding. The alfalfa kind of spreads itself out in the box here. Let's try half of it and see how far I get, because otherwise we'll just end up scooping it out. We bought this place in 2019, and the family we bought it from said this field hadn't been dug up and reconditioned in all the time they owned it, which goes back to the 70s. So it was pretty grown in with brush and very much root bound. And the pH was off, so the lime helped to correct that. You can see on this little wing of the field, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it's kind of a rolling hill. We're up on a hilltop. And this whole area is very sandy. And we've got a similar field across the road that grows very good alfalfa. And so we're optimistic that we can get a strong stand of alfalfa established here, that we've got the right conditions for it. You can see the hilltop maybe just a little bit better as we're headed east here. I'm trying to line up the cedar on the previous tracks in the soil using that side mirror so that I don't have any gaps, and just as important, so I don't overlap and waste seed. So 1970s GPS. I'm not sure if the camera picks it up, but you can see the marks over there where I've gone, and I'm slowly covering the field. This tractor is filthy. I was seeding last night until dark, so I have to promise the tractor that I'll power wash it when I get home, plus clean out all these filters, because this summertime field work is really dusty. So here's our very high-tech packer in the field. And you see the ridges and even some grain exposed here from where we seeded last night, right? The packer's 12-foot wide, old-time field roller. I've assembled it underneath an old International disc frame so we can raise and lower it. And I've added commercial bearings, disc bearings, instead of the original wooden block bearings that were here. But the result is a much smoother seed bed. It just smooths this field out so you can get over it baling hay at a higher rate of speed. Get your work done with less damage to the equipment. Well, here's a nice rain shower on the way home after rolling that freshly planted grain. You see going down the road here, it's raining pretty good. This looks like the heaviest rain I've seen since June. So hopefully we'll get a little more pasture out of this. Certainly will be good for the freshly planted rye. Give it a little bit of a head start. Well, and here's the result. Less than 2 weeks later, we've got emergence of rye. You should be able to clearly see the rows behind me, and already some serious root building, eliminating the dust and erosion that indicates. A side benefit to this project is right across this fence line, where you see we in this area about a half acre. we plowed up and disked up and did the exact same planting regimen, rye, only regular conventional grass seed. And we continued it all the way down this fence line and all the way, it's hard to see, but right back there, and that's all in the cow pasture, reseeded ground that was failing from a pasture standpoint. It was growing stuff like the alderbrush and the willow you see back over there that has invaded this historic pasture. And now we've turned the soil over and quickly seeded down these cover crops in order to rejuvenate this chunk of pasture. Now, only a couple of acres all said and done, but a couple of acres over a course of a summer will yield a lot of cow forage. And as we push back that brush line in future years and reclaim the historic pasture, we'll do this same kind of soil rejuvenation, eliminate the junk species, the willow and the alder, and replace it with grass that can support the cows. Well, it's been about a month since we seeded this, and wow, we've had some serious growth in the rye. It has filled in. You almost can't see the rows, and as you look out over the field, there's very solid growth here. Aside from the rye, we've also got quite a bit of initial growth of the alfalfa underneath here. And just like the field, the pasture section has really filled in. You can see that bright green growth on the left side of the fence line, and it's thick. I think we'll probably let the cows out here later this week and let them graze some of this down. Whether we decide to take this next spring or next summer as forage, bale it, or whether we decide to let it grow back up into grain, well, that decision will be made next year depending on what we need. But certainly this first step is a big success. We've got solid growth here, covering the soil, providing great cover for the alfalfa underneath. And this is in a field that parts of it in the spring are just too wet to get in and do field work. So we think we've solved a couple of problems. At first glance, this has been a successful experiment for us. It's accomplished what we needed. Thanks for watching. Back with more fall tillage soon. We'll see you then.